Hello and welcome to our edition number 20 of our study stream. The live stream series of the Central Student Advisory Service. It's great that you are watching, even it is so hot outside and still hot from yesterday, obviously. And we have a real interesting topic today, which is graduation. What's next? Guidance for your future steps. And we have really great guests today with us. So be curious about this edition today. First of all, I want to say that if you have any general questions, please feel free to use the comment section to ask them, to comment on our live streams. And if you have like really questions that are really specialized, feel free to write an email to our Central Student Advisory Service. You can see the email address in the comment section right now, and then when we will answer these questions. There's one more colleague to us next to Vera, which is my colleague from the Central Student Advisory Service, and we are doing together this study stream today. There's Alexandra, and Alexandra is joining us today, and she is managing in the chat. So if you write any questions into the comment section, then Alexandra will answer you. All right, that's for the prequel, and now we are starting our stream. And yeah, Vera, it's up to you for the first question and our first guest.
Yeah, thank you, Christoph. And also a big welcome from my side. This is the 20th edition of the study stream, Graduation What's Next. Part number 1, we thought we have a little impetus provided by Corinna Gödel from the Career Service. Corinna, our colleague, she joined us last time. We did the same stream with the same topic in German. And so we thought, who can give us a better impetus than Corinna? So our main topic today is, as we said, you're on the brink of completing your bachelor or master degree, and perhaps you're already graduated. So what's next? Is it, a master after graduation from a bachelor? Is it a PhD, or do you want to dive into your career? So Corinna, our colleague from the Career Service, I wanted to ask you, we figured that in our German stream, we found out that there are so many challenges students might face about making these transformative decisions. And there's so much fear of making big decisions. So we were asking us, and maybe you can help us, where is this fear coming from? What attitude can help in this transition time? And how can a transition time be also a valuable one for us?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Hello, everybody. First of all, I would say the fear, where is it coming from? I think it stems from the fact that actually graduation is a very big thing in our lives. No? It's very emotional, very formative phase for many students. And I don't think there's many people who find this easy. And now if we talk about international students, different difficulties are added to this. And yeah, it opens up like another dimension of transition. And there's so many rules and requirements they have to consider when it's about their visa, what kind of jobs they can apply for. Language barriers, culture barriers. If you add this to the equation, then it can lead to a very stressful phase of life. So I would stress that it's very important to start very early and to really very early reach out to other students, or see who is around you who can help you with that. And in my professional life, I found that it's best if you find yourself with fear, it's very important to actually address this fear, to not try and hide it or maybe ignore it and then wait until the end until you do something about it, which makes it worse because you like fall into a hole and it's too much stress, too little time. So I think it's the best for us as career advisors to really give room to that kind of fear and to look at it and pack it on the table and really think about what can we do about it and where to start and how to find like a structural approach of helping against this fear. Yeah.
So fear is not, I mean, I wouldn't go so far to say like fear can be a friend, but it can be like, you know, guide you in a certain direction and maybe support you in, you know, trying to organize everything ahead of time, which then lowers the stress level, as if I understand you right. Thank you very much. Our second question is, and I know that, you know, we were talking about this before, that you prepared a bit for us, and I'm very, very thankful for these, for your fruitful input. We wanted to ask you if you could provide us with some insights from your perspective, as well as from a sort of like meta perspective, about the 3 important things that are kind of shaping this time of transformation and transition, as we would say, a bit pathetic, into a new era from studies into a professional career. What would you say? What are the 3 important things for shaping this time?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this. The 3 things I would concentrate on. But first of all, I would say language proficiency is very important. And it's one of the problems. It sounds very simple, huh? But it's one of the problems we are dealing with most every day. Because it may appear, now we are University of Potsdam, we're very close to Berlin. Berlin is a very vibrant, multicultural city. It appears to be like, English is fine. No, we don't need any German languages. This impression can arise. So this is something that is very hard. If you just start, when you come here, maybe you're here for a master's degree, you don't have any German skills. So it might be very short time window to actually gain some German skills. And we find that it's maybe changing or on the verge of changing a little bit, but German skills are still very important. Of course, depending on what kind of field you study or what kind of job you're thinking of. No? But if you really want to work in a job related to your studies, then it's very likely you will need some German skills. So this is important. And also cultural knowledge about work culture. I think of counseling session with a Chinese student. So it was very interesting for me. And in the career service, we work a lot with vocational fields. What kind of vocational fields are there? We concentrate a lot of what do you want to do? What are your verbs? What you would like now to fill your day with? What kind of topics would you like to work on? Where would you like to work? A lot about you. And he was, in the end of the counseling session, he said, wow, that was a lot about me. I don't think anyone has made me so many questions about me. And I actually enjoyed this, but I think when I go back to China, it's maybe not so important. And this is kind of important to understand how much how deep culture is rooted into what we perceive our understanding about professional life and our transition into professional life. And to really understand that here, if you stay here, you might think these questions are not so important, but here employers will ask you, why you? Why there? Why? What do you want to do there? So give us this knowledge. So these are 2 things I would like to highlight. Yeah. And you said 3 things, sorry.
No problem. No, I was thinking of adding that in the second part, we'll have 2 international students. So we'll ask them about German language skills and also about, cultural comprehension. Yeah, thank you so far.
But as one thing I would like to add is really networking, going out there, starting early, which really, if you don't have the possibility of having job experience in a field connected to your study field, it's still very important to start networking, to go on university websites, see what kind of workshops, seminars are offered, where can you meet people, where can you go out. It can be very low level, no? It can be a picnic with your peers, just to really not stay alone and suffer alone, but really have like lift your spirit, share problems, share fears, and then it will reshape also a little bit the perspective you are looking on these problems.
Yeah, thank you very much, Corinna. This was actually shorter than we expected. Thanks. Thank you for the three.
I can say more if you want.
I know. But last but not least, we will put a link about the career service, about your service in the public chat. So because we were talking about, you had a consultation with a Chinese student. So everybody who is interested in joining you for a session, then please make an appointment with the career service. So Corinna, thank you very much for your insights. Yeah.
And I would like to add, you can also come and use our service if you don't have any idea, if you don't know where to start, if you want to use it as like an opener to the process, no? To really make a plan. How do I approach this?
Exactly.
problem? Yeah.
Yeah, this could be like a first micro step towards a career into the future. So thank you. As early as possible. Okay. So thank you very much. See, the link is already in the public chat. Thank you, Alexandra. And thank you, Corinna. And goodbye. See you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And I hand over to Christoph.
Yeah, once again, thanks to Corinna for joining us today. And I am going to bring all of our guests to the stage. And there are 4 of them. Hello and welcome. So first of all, I would like to introduce you as our guest today. There is, first of all, Anne. She is working in a project that is called UPtransistion, a part of the career service. She will talk about this project later on, so you will know something later about this project. Very interesting. There is, of course, Stephanie. She is joining us from the Faculty of Arts, where she is heading the Humanities Career Orientation. Very interesting working field. And then there is Juan, and he was actually a student of our master's program, National International Administration and Policy. He graduated 4 years ago already in 2021, and now he's working for a project that is called Data for Equity, Vielfalt entscheidet in German, which is part of the NGO Citizens for Europe. Thanks for joining us today. And last but not least, there is Sanna, and she is studying a master's program that is called Anglophone Modernities in Literature and Culture at the University of Potsdam, and she is holding a bachelor's degree in English literature from the Government College University in Lahore, Pakistan. It's really nice that we have so much expertise now for our second part of this live stream, which is about shaping transitions towards a master's or a career. And my first question actually is for you, Anna. Talking about transitions and shaping transitions, why is this topic so important from your perspective? And would you say that in recent years there has been an increase in students approaching you during this phase, or has it been this all the time? And you, as I said, established this project, UPtransistion. Can you tell us a bit more about this project and how it was designed, maybe to help students within this transition phase? Yeah, would you provide us with some insight?
Yeah, hello. Also, yeah, hello to everybody, and thanks for inviting me, and thank you for these beautiful questions I would love to answer. So I guess I start with the last one about the project UPtransistion. Yeah, like you said, it's a project under the roof of the career service. So Corinna, who you just met, is my colleague. And it's a 1-year program that we designed that helps with the orientation, like the orientation towards your professional goals. So yeah, this is what the main thing we do. And yeah, it's a 1-year program, and the students can apply twice a year, and then we form a group and they stay together for this year. And yeah, we offer like workshops, of course, consultations, so individual consultations, networking events, so that the participants can talk on this peer-to-peer level, because we find it's like Corinna said, like talk to others. It's always like a benefit, and you don't feel alone and feel like I'm the only one, yeah, who is confused and afraid. Yeah, that's what we do. And the special thing about UPtransistion is like the career service is for every student, of course, and the UPtransission program is explicitly aimed at underrepresented student groups, and there are many of them. But this is was the idea that we want to help people who might, or students who might have further who have for who it is a bit a bit harder. So, and to these represented groups, of course, one of them are international students, although they are a growing minority, but they are like one minority at the university, and also first-generation students or queer students or students who faced discrimination, or also students with health restrictions, and also students with care responsibilities. And sometimes there are students who have several of these, or belong to several of these groups. So this is like in general the project. And what's interesting, we now have 3 groups. The first already finished, and what we see is that we get applications. 80 to 90% of our applications are from international students. This surprised us a bit, but it just shows how much there's such a demand for services and offers in English language at the university, with the growing numbers of English student programs. This is why I'm happy to talk today about also the experience of international students. And I just can add what Corinna already said, like it's even harder for international students, of course, to find their way through this process. And not to talk too long, your question, if we see an increase in consultations, and of course we can see that. And I just asked Corinna before, because she has the numbers, and she said if we look back 10 years ago, there were only 10% of all the consultations were with international students, and now it's up to 30%, like 25 to 30%. So 1/3 of all our career service consultations are with international students, and the general number is rising and going up and up each year. So yes, we could say that there's more and more demand for help and orientation regarding this transition. And like Corinna said in the beginning, it's really a big step, of course, like finishing your degree and finishing your studies and starting in the real world or in the job market. So yeah, I can totally say we can see this at the career service.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anna, for this insight, because I mean, this study stream is also part of the whole internationalization process of our university, right? To get more English stuff to our students, because we have such a growing number of international students who don't speak any German. So we have to change as a university, which is not so easy, because we are so big. So this is really interesting. That's why UPtransistion is such a cool project, and hopefully you will be able to longer provide this service to our students. My next question is actually to Steph. If we look further into this to to this transition phase, because during this phase, many things happen simultaneously. We have the thesis, we have work, we have housing, we have social life, we have maybe a partner, maybe we have a child, maybe we have, I don't know, people we have to care for, other people. And this is quite challenging, right? So many, it's challenging on the one side, and on the other side, there are so many possibilities after graduation. If you want to go further for a master's degree, if you even think about going for a PhD, if you want to, you know, enter a professional life. So what would you say are the most important questions students ask themselves during this transition phase between like a first degree and the second degree, or maybe between the second degree and the PhD, or between, you know, the phase when entering the professional life? That would be like my question to you from your perspective, from the Faculty of Arts.
Yeah, thank you. I think the first thing I would say to that is what Corinna already mentioned, is you have to look at yourself, like, who am I? What do I want to do? And on the one hand, you need to have a look at, why did I study what I studied? Like, what purpose did that have for me? Where did I see myself in a couple of years? And that will, of course, then shape your future decisions. So if you'd studied a particular bachelor's degree, you want to ask yourself, do I want to do a master's? And if so, what kind of master's would that be? We have a fantastic choice of master programs at the University of Potsdam and elsewhere, of course, as well. But you also have to look at, did I maybe do my bachelor's to then pursue a professional career? And what would that mean for me if I enter the professional life with a bachelor's degree? On the other hand, these same questions come back to you if you've done a master's. Why did I do my master's? What purpose did that have? What did I hope to gain from this? So I think you really need to kind of look at yourself first and what you want to do. And I think what a lot of people do first is look at, what expectations do others have of me, which can then hinder you quite severely. So I would always start with yourself, you know, as Corinna described this process with the international student about looking at what you want and what you feel like. So I think that's probably one of the most important things, is to figure out why you do certain things and not just run into the next phase without properly, you know, thinking about what the consequences would be, what the options are. So yeah.
And I think it's really important, if you want to find out about why you did this and what you want for yourself, then it's really good to go to your you know, career orientation, or to the career service, because I think sometimes it's really difficult to do it on your own. Sometimes you just need a mirror that is like mirroring your words and asking questions to find out what you want to do, right? So we go further. Anna, you have something to add. That's amazing. Go for it.
Yeah, just what you just said. There's so much you really cannot know as a student. I mean, when I started working at the career service, I myself learned so much. And even like, I looked at my CV and said, okay, why did they take me? Because now I know how to do a good CV. This is like what we also offer, like check your application documents. And like in our times, the way the world we live in, there are so many jobs, as they are so specified, you don't know anything. You cannot know them, you know. And in your study program, I mean, you are lucky if there comes a person from practice and does like a, I don't know, practice seminar, like someone from the outside world. But it is just one person, and there are hundreds and hundreds of jobs you don't even think about. And this is also what the career service and also staff is doing, like showing what's there. Like Corinna said, you can come to us if you have no idea, or just, I think I like to do research, but then how many fields there are, you know, and you cannot know this. So I would say, I mean, my life would be totally different if I went to the career service when I studied, and I did do it because I didn't even know there is a career service, although there was one. So I just can say now, when you watch this stream, you know now we are there and just come and talk to us, because it really just can help.
Yeah, Steph.
I want to jump right onto that, because that's actually a really good thing. I think a lot of people are afraid to come to these kind of services because they think they need to have it figured out, and they don't. We act as a sounding board. So I have a lot of consultations with people who come to me with one question, and then throughout the discussion we end up at a completely different topic, because that was actually the underlying problem. And so chatting with us from the career service and the career orientation sometimes also opens topics that you weren't aware of. For example, what choice do we even have in terms of master's programs or professional fields? What potential difficulties could we face? You know, Corinna mentioned cultural differences. Corinna mentioned language problems. That might be something, okay, language might be something a bit more obvious, but different work cultures might be something people don't even think about, because they're like, you know, we're next to Berlin, it's an international city, what could possibly go wrong? So I really encourage people to go either to us or even to their family, to their friends, to their peers, to their lecturers, and just open that conversation and see what experiences have they made, what mistakes have they maybe made, or what have they learned, what are maybe good things. You really don't need to have it figured out when you come to us. Just start the conversation and then see where it goes.
Yes, go to your counseling services. All right, Vera, I think the next question is for you and for Sanna.
For Sanna, exactly. Thank you, Sanna, for being here. And we have the chance to firsthand ask you, so what will you say? How is your German? How was your journey? And how do you think, what were your challenges? And please, the floor is yours.
Every time someone said that it's really obvious that you need to learn German, you need to improve your German, it felt like a personal attack, because I've been here for almost a year and I try, but then I think it's because my program is entirely in English. My professors talk to me in English, and the university is this like little bubble where you can get by quite easily. And because my current jobs are, one of them is with Stephanie, great boss, by the way. But then, so because of that, I don't really have to learn German. But then I'm also very aware that when this contract ends for the future, you definitely need German. And thinking that being next to Berlin will somehow solve everything is, it's not quite right. For the transition period, I would say that right now I am looking at another transition period because I'm halfway through my master's. But when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking more about my transition period when I was completing my bachelor's back in Pakistan. So even when I started, and this is something Stephanie really works on because she offers orientation for humanities people. When I started my bachelor's in English literature, the question that we were all asking ourselves, the entire cohort, was, well, with a bachelor's in English, what can you even do other than academia? Is there anything else you can do with a bachelor's in English? And then we were we didn't have a career service, a proper career service, but then we still slowly we figured out, talking to each other, talking to our seniors, that okay, this is the corporate side, this is what possible professions exist for you. Ironically enough, when I had to ask questions about what I enjoy, it led me back to academia. That is why I came back to do a master's. I think that with my master's, I came in with a plan. I knew that I wanted to do, I thought that the best possible option would be to do a master's from the United States. I did apply, it didn't completely work out. And then I had to look at my options again. And then I saw that, okay, Germany is another option. I had some professors who did their PhDs from Germany. So then I looked at the programs and it got me here. So I think it's just to in this phase, what you really need to do is remember that you have to be flexible. You can have this very specific idea that, okay, I want to do this thing. But if it doesn't work out, or if it needs more steps than you previously anticipated, then you need to be fine with it. You need to take a moment to stop and just, go through the steps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. And also, thank you for the tip of having plan A, B, and C. And luckily for you, and for us, because you're a student of the University of Potsdam, Plan B worked out. So thank you for being here. Juan, sorry. For you, how was your German? And what were your challenges and your journey? Maybe you can elaborate on this for us.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to say, Sana, thank you for sharing actually very valuable insight, particularly from a humanities perspective. I think I'm going to talk a bit more from a social science perspective, and then the field I ended up working is more data science. But it's very important to know that you need to exactly keep your options open. Regarding my German, I did my bachelor's in Germany, so I have spoken German since I was 17, 18, but it was definitely, there was a time when obviously German was a huge issue, and I remember, you know, I think one of the most important things for you in that sense is to not underestimate the importance of it. I learned German in a small city called Bremen, where it's very easy to learn German because no one speaks English, or back then, about 10, 12 years ago. But precisely that, I think, is something that people underestimate entirely. I would like to share also the team that I work with. There is someone who is originally from the US but has German citizenship, someone who is came late in life to Germany. We are very diverse, but the team language is German. Our customers, our clients, our partners are all German-speaking partners with whom we also hold meetings exclusively in German. Obviously, there are some times when English fluency is additionally needed, but I think that's an important point to make, is everyone speaks English. It's not something special. It's not something that will make you stand out. And your minimum should be to try to at least be able to communicate in a basic B1, B2 proficiency level in German professionally, because those are the people that you're working with in the end. Even if you're based out of Berlin, in my experience, most of the partners you're going to be working with will not be in Berlin. And I think it's also important to remind people that speaking English for the older generation or for certain people is a big struggle, and I think there is a generational gap as well there. So to assume that everyone speaks English is also it's a bit out of tone with what my experience is. Also, once you live in Berlin and get to know different neighborhoods, you'll notice very quickly how that is a reality. And I think it's very important also to be able to communicate with the community you're in. So having said that, I wanted to talk a bit about how my experience was also as I was finishing my master's. And it was in a moment of pandemic. But one of the first things I did coming out of the experience also for my bachelor's is starting early. I called it marathon, not a sprint. And I think one of the first things you can do if you're still at the moment where you still have a few semesters left over is definitely get experience, be that as a Werkstudent, be that as a part-time employee, be that as an internship. Get valuable experience. I was just hiring actually last 3 months ago for a new person in our team, and I saw many resumes of people that perhaps were okay or very good students but no experience. And unfortunately, in the competitive job market that there is today, having no experience really is a no-go and for a lot of employers. So I think that's something that if you can also, for example, take a bit more semesters in your master's or in your bachelor's to get that Werkstudent experience, because after that it's very difficult once you graduate. I think I would do that. That would be one of my recommendations. Absolutely, always prioritize that. I know it's hard to combine with the studying, the hours, and job searching and actually doing the job. When I was working as a master's student, I also worked at a consulting company that consulted for the European Union and evaluated European Union projects. And that made me stay a bit longer at university. But in the end, it was one of the reasons why I got my first job directly out of university. That experience was invaluable.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to stress out that what to wrap up sort of what you're saying is very important, because it's all related to the sort of employability, and I wanted to say that the project we're presenting today with Anne, UPtransistion, is actually exactly what you're talking about. During your studies, your master degree, you can get a job and earn job experiences in Germany in order to enhance your employability. As you say, Juan, this is exactly what we were talking about and what is very important. And UPtransistion is basically supporting this since, I think, 2 years. Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 years. So, and on a personal level, Juan, were there any challenges that you faced? And, maybe like on your way, were there some turns and detours?
Absolutely. I think when applying, I think the biggest frustration was I've sent so many applications and I don't get any answers. And I think I've seen a lot of people say, hey, I've applied to 100 places and nothing. Keep on doing it. I applied to 150 places before I got my first job. And the other thing is, please don't copy paste your like cover letters, your CVs, do every application individually, because I saw a lot of that when also now hiring, and I also had to unfortunately couldn't hire those people. So it's very, very important to take your time. Regarding how I ended up where I ended up, when I was doing my master's, I wrote my thesis in international development. That's where I wanted to be in. And as a very dreamy sort of political science student, I wanted to work for the UN or something like that, which it's still not off the table, obviously. But I was also very involved in Berlin and Potsdam in activist groups with BIPOC groups, with queer groups, doing activism also within the university. In my last year, we founded UPqueer, which is the queer group for the university. And so I gained a lot of experience in that, just on sort of my free time. And the current job that I have, which I've had since I graduated, and it has evolved over time, was precisely because of that. I never thought I could get a job thinking about also how I do activism, then on a more formal sociological perspective, but that's exactly what happened. And so I think it was Anna or Stephanie who were talking about never closing your options and never limiting your imagination to what is possible. And I think I would have never seen myself 5 years ago working where I work right now, especially doing data science. That's something I learned in my bachelor's and in my master's. I was very interested in quantitative approaches, but there was a huge learning curve for me to actually master data science to a point that I can lead a team of programmers, for instance. Yeah,
thank you, Juan, for really taking us with you on that journey of dreaming of everything, and then having to send out 150 applications and still believing in you can make it somehow. So this is like reality and dream is in between lies a lot of work, actually. So thank you very for sharing this. And also, Juan, thanks for joining us today. I learned that you are now joining a conference in a couple of minutes, and your paper got accepted. So we'll say goodbye to you earlier, and the others are still here. So thank you very much for joining us and for all your insights. Thanks, and all the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Bye. So wonderful to have this insight. And Sana, maybe you want to share with us also some of your maybe turns or detours or things that worked out differently than you expected it.
I think, so if I talk about my experience, I knew that I wanted to do something related to research because I have always enjoyed my program. I've always been known as the nerd in my class. So out of it, so in Pakistan, the thing is that in the start, we were talking about work culture differences. In Pakistan, with my bachelor's in English literature, I could teach English at school level. And so that is my work experience. My work experience is mostly teaching at school level. It's very diverse. So it starts from school, it goes all the way to being an English lecturer. And so I was talking to Anne about it, that now I have a very like singular career trajectory. So now like, because I'm again at a transitional period, I'm and now that I'm here in Germany, I'm sort of thinking that, okay, I know that and this is also something that's important, that I know that what I'm passionate about is academia, but practically speaking, as an international student, I have to look at a lot of things. I have to see that as soon as my program ends, my student visa will expire, and then I will be on a job seeker visa. Job seeker visas are connected very deeply to you having a working career contract. Sorry, not the job seeker, but like the thing that comes after that. So I need to have a working contract in which I can get earn a certain amount of money. So now I have to like think, and that's like, you know, this is like a lifelong journey, maybe, that you always have to be flexible. You always have to be open to exploring different things. I have a younger sister who is going to start university in 2 years. And she was talking to me, and every 2 months she changes her plans, that, oh, I think now I'm interested in biochemistry. Maybe now I'm interested in astrophysics. And then she says that, how do you know? Because she's 10 years younger than me. She says that, I look at you and I think that you know exactly what you're doing. And I said, no, nobody knows what they're doing. And it's always just trying to make the best of what you have, trying to like, you know, stop, think, reflect, and maybe reassess, talk to people, understand that, you know, what can I do next? So yeah, I am once again thinking that, okay, now that I'm halfway through my master's, I would second what Juan said, that if you are a master's student, you can easily get, well, maybe not that easily, but you can get working student positions in different areas. And that is a very good thing, a very good option to diversify your like CV.
Yeah, thank you. And also wonderful to hear that, you know, two basic points that are important for us, and you just mentioned them. First is staying flexible, and the second one is you know, as you said, you know, you thought you might go like this, but in the end, it's not a way like this. It has curves. And flexibility and curves make it actually more interesting, most probably, although they are like outside pressures. Thank you very much for your insights. And now I hand over to Christoph for our last round.
Actually, Vera, I just thought, what's our last round? Because I think we have changed a bit, right? So my next question is to Anna, right? Is it right? Yeah.
Yeah, we changed a bit because we are flexible as well.
Yeah, we're so flexible, of course. So this one, Anna, is for you. Thinking again about this transition phase and like the transition phase in the context of student advisory. Firstly, the feeling of disorientation, and secondly, the question of decision-making competence in a time characterized by uncertainty, reorientation, as a rather transformational energy to change. What would you say? Why is it so? So why do we feel it? Why do you feel students like this? Or do you have any other experience with students in your program to share with us? How do you see this this directionless? What can be the reason for it during the time of graduation and afterwards? And I think for me, it's really interesting to learn, why is it connected with a negative view, you know? So why is it always perceived as a negative thing if you can't see the proper direction in the first place? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, thank you. So I first answer this, and then I would like to say other things. Yes, I think like what Corinna said in the beginning, there's a lot of fear, and it's a big step. Like, this is one part, and why it's seen negatively, it's also what Juan said. I would say when you go back, so now you are in the situation and in the chaos and in the fear you won't get the job you want to have and everything. Yeah, there are so many negative feelings, but when you 5 years into the future and then you look back to this point, and you will see it worked out well, and it was actually positive. I mean, it's not just with the career things happening in our lives, also personal. I guess we all have examples where there was a challenging time in our lives, and it felt at the moment really challenging and frustrating. Also, you had frustrations, and you thought, yeah, it's I don't know, the worst possible case, and why is this all happening right now, and it will never be better. And then, of course, it goes on, and you will make decisions, and you get help, and then I guess this is why it's so negative in the being in this, you know, storm, and then afterwards it can be positive. Yes, and what I wanted to say as well, after hearing what Juan and Sana said, I just think you can also work in the career service because you both gave so good advice. I just wanted to mention this. Yeah, and many things I wanted to say, Juan and Sana just said, and I want to highlight again what Juan said was really perfect. Like, it's like he talks from a career service perspective with this, how important internships and student assistant jobs and student jobs while you are studying are. And I even like that he added, it's worth studying longer. And this is also a really good point, because so many students, and I know international students have, like Sana just added additional pressure with the visa restrictions. But really, you can, it's when future employers look at your CV, they don't care, like, if your master's program took you 4 years instead of 2, if you got work experience. Like, really, no one looks at these dates. It's not interesting. I mean, only if there would be like a time frame of 2 years and there's nothing there in your CV explaining that. But no one cares, and no one cares about the grades, like, if they are not, you know, very, very bad. But we don't expect that now. The work experience, we cannot highlight this enough, is they are so important, like Juan said, and I love that he mentioned that. Yeah, so it's not important if you study longer, if you use this time and your student status, which is like good for some other things, that you get practical experience, work experience. And some students always think that an internship doesn't count as work experience, but it counts. Like, of course, they know it's not, you were not a full employee, but you already got an insight. You got to know the programs, the processes, the tasks. It counts as work experience. And this is like, because, again, I'm sorry, I'm like, it's a topic I want to talk about, because there are so many job offers you find online, and it says 5-year job experience, and all the students coming at the end of their studies think, I don't get it. How can I get a job? I'm finishing my master's, and all the job offers I see say you need these years of job experience. And when you did your internships and you maybe had a student assistant job, you already have some years of job experience and this of work experience. And this is, I really wanted to highlight this again. So sorry for, sorry for my explosion. Yeah.
No worries. So work experience, underline it. Work experience is really important during your studies, even if you study a bit longer. Then it is set in your study regulations. Steph, last but not least, let's talk about humanities. I mean, you're working in the humanities, and I think humanities are, even for me, even in the student orientation phase, humanities are a special case. And I think even in the orientation phase, when you go out and looking for a career option, it's similar questions, maybe. I always remember these questions when we go to fairs, and then people who want to study philosophy or history, and they are, asking, what am I going to do with my bachelor's degree in history? And of course, we have a lot of really, really important and good answers to these questions, but you are the expert, because a lot of people obviously come to your counseling and ask these questions. So what is your perspective on this topic that we are just talking about?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the the fairs and the questions of what am I going to do with your studies, because I recently took part in the orientation or information day of the University of Potsdam, and I gave a talk about career options for humanities students, and half the people in the room were parents, because they're the ones having those questions. They want to know, where does my kid end up? Often the students or the prospective students are the ones who kind of follow their heart and follow their gut and say, I want to do history because I enjoy it. And then the parent is the one like, okay, and what are you going to do with that? So there's this kind of running joke in the humanities sector that this question of what are you going to do with that is one that you will always be asked. I'm still being asked that question. I'm on my way to a PhD. So I've been doing this for a while, but the question never goes away with humanities, which is why I exist, which is why my role exists, and which is why I think I'm also so passionate about this, because I didn't have guidance. I think it was Anna earlier who said that she never went to a career service meeting when she was a student. I never did, because I never knew these things existed, and I think it would have helped me a lot. But there are a lot of things I also want to comment about. I'm very passionate about this, just like you, Anna. But I think one of the most important things that were mentioned throughout this talk were that students are also often very critical or very hesitant to admit what they already have, or they struggle to see what they already bring to the table. Just like you said, Anna, like when you have internship experience, student job experience, this is work experience. So I, for example, have a workshop that deals with this. I'm looking at what are you doing? What have you done so far? Where do you want to go? And I want to highlight again, come to us as early as possible. Because this workshop, for example, is also meant for students in their very early stages. It's meant for students in their later stages. It's for any stage. And we will basically look at what do you have and where do you have gaps? Because while you're studying, you have the time to fill these gaps. You have seminars you can attend. You have workshops you can attend for free on fantastic topics. You have the time to do internships. If you also have the financial means to do internship, that's even better, because unfortunately they're often unpaid. But you also have the chance to take a little bit longer in your studies and fill this time with work experience, fill this time with orientation. What do I like? What do I want to do? Because the worst case scenario is that you find a job after you graduate and you hate it because you never thought about, what do I actually want to do? So I really want to highlight, I think, what everyone has said so far. Take your time, listen to yourself, listen to what you enjoy, look at the options and get help. Like, get other people who have the experience to tell you what is out there. And just don't rush through this so quickly. We're always rushed from one transition phase to the next. You finish school, what do you do for your bachelor's? You finish your bachelor's, what do you want to do now? You finish your master's. It's always a rush. And it's a shame that it is a rush, because I think this time is so transformative and so enjoyable. And, so can work life be. I don't want to say working isn't fun. We all like our jobs. But I think we also all liked our study times. So yeah, take your time a bit more and enjoy the transition phases. Drag them out a bit.
Yeah, good answer. Thank you very much. And sometimes, I think for me, sometimes it's really good to look at the hard facts and figures and numbers. If you look at unemployment rates of graduates from the humanities or from, from sciences, it doesn't really differ really much. So obviously, people who study philosophy or history find jobs. Wow. So, of course, get and find help, use all the opportunities at the universities. There are so many and so diverse. And finally, Vera, I think, do you want to wrap up our stream?
Yeah, thank you for this package. Yes, thank you very much for your insight. And our last round would have been, what kind of thoughts, learning, or do you want to, have as a final tip for our students? But you did already, besides Sanna. So I would give Sanna the last word. Do you have like an ultimate tip from your point of view for our international students?
I think I would mostly just repeat what everybody said, because it's generally, and at the very start, we talked about cultural difference. So the last thing that Stephanie just said about taking your time and not rushing, and like just, just maybe enjoying the steps and thinking them through. Cultural difference really matters. I'm in my 3rd semester, and 4 people have already asked me that, oh, your master's was intended for 4 semesters. Are you done? Are you about to complete it? So over here, when I came to Germany, it was a very pleasant surprise. And in the start, it was also a shock to see that people are very Like it's very normal to take your time with your masters, to take more than 2 years for your masters. So and mostly like the help thing, what everyone, Anna and Stephanie also said, that we always have this thing that, oh, I don't want to look stupid by asking these questions from the people who are there to help me. So just, you know, it's take the first step. There are a lot of opportunities, a lot of services available to help you, and just, you know, talk to them.
Thank you very much. And this is exactly why we're doing this study streams, and that's why Christoph and I were passionate about. It's like to have this platform and to, you know, let people know that, yeah, it is like this is, and there's so many more people. You are not alone thinking this. And thank you, Stephanie, also for giving us the tip of not rushing through everything, maybe celebrating. You have a bachelor degree. Wow, we have a master degree. Celebrating it. And then, as you said, Sana, before, do it yourself. Be flexible. Do it yourself. And see what you want to do. So thank you all, Anne, Stephanie, Sana, and Christoph, my lovely co-moderator. Thank you very much for joining us. And I give you the last word.
Yeah, thanks once again to Steph, Sana, and Anne for joining us today. Our next study stream will happen, I think, on September 29th. And this is our study stream for our start of study, actually. So the next winter semester, I think 4,500 new students will arrive at the University of Potsdam. And this is our opportunity to say welcome at the UP. So our next study stream on September 29th. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the career servers, to the Humanities Career Orientation in the Faculty of Arts, or our Central Student Advisory Service. We are really good connected. So if this email finds not the right contact person, we will forward it and it gets to the right contact. Thank you very much. Have a nice day and a nice evening, and see you in September. Bye.
See you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.